So all the shading that you do in these pages section is going to make it look like a more three-dimensional or more dimensions to the painting, so it's not just flat. So we're going to continue with the books, and then we're going to get down to the background. So I know you'll notice that we didn't really do anything with these outlines here. So if you want to, what you can do is you can take white paint and kind of paint over these lines, because when we do the pages, they're going to extend past that, and then we'll outline outside of it. So you'll see what I mean when we get to that portion. All right. So now we're going to use the small round brush, and I'm going to go ahead and use the black with a little bit of water, and we're just going to put in some pages. Now, you don't have to do this section if you want to leave them blank, because we are going to be putting some words there. So if you don't want to have too much going on there, you can leave that. But I just want to kind of give the illusion that we are dealing with some books here and some pages. To make it a little bit less dynamic, we can just use just the water, and so they won't be as bright. So for the second one, we just use the water. It won't be as bright. It doesn't have to be individual pages. It could just be like you're letting the person looking at it know that these are books. There we go. And then for that bottom one, so at the bottom, it's even lighter. It's even lighter this time. There we go. Let's go ahead and go over everything, make sure everything is blended in nicely. You had some bleeding from the water up here, but that's okay. Gives a little bit of character. Again, like this book was used a little bit. All right. And we'll go ahead and outline the individual books at the end and the apple. What we'll do is we'll go ahead and do the background. So I'm going to go back to the flat brush. And before I do that, I'm just going to give you, this is your opportunity to kind of make it your own, kind of, set yourself apart from the person sitting next to you. You can decide to, some things that we've done in the past, since this is a Apple, it's a book, it's a school setting, you're in a school, you're a teacher. Something cool you can do is to kind of simulate a marble notebook. So then you would paint the entire thing black, and then you can go in like with this brush and kind of just with white and kind of just make the pattern of that marble notebook kind of random. Or a technique that I've used in the past is you can maybe take a paper towel and you can kind of roll it up, and whatever you have, whatever shape you have here, you would dip that into the paint, and then that would be your shape that you would use on the painting. So I'm not going to do that, but that's giving you a few ideas. You can have blue, or you don't have blue, I'm sorry. You could mix your green and your yellow and give yourself a blue color, and you could do like a sky, use the white for clouds. Some of you who remember how to write in cursive, you can kind of do a black background and you can write some words of affirmation in white, or you can use green and use yellow. You can kind of freestyle this. What I'm going to do is I'm not going to go too complicated here. We're just going to do, I'm going to start with the top is going to be brown, and then I'm going to blend it down into like maybe a yellow. So we'll just go dark and then light at the bottom. Just take the brown and just go like maybe I'd say to where the apple is, middle apple. You know, just extend it all the way down as far as it can go. Actually, now I've changed my mind there. See, it's kind of just play with the paint. Just paint it out until it dries itself, and you'll see where we're going with this. We'll just kind of give it a little bit of a textured background. So that's the brown. We're gonna do brown at the top, and we're gonna like kind of fade it into a yellow. We're gonna do more brown all the way across. We're gonna do brown at the top, and we're gonna bring it down. So brown. No specific pattern. I mean, if you do want to have a specific pattern, you can. I'm just kind of going random, in and out, dark to light, short, long. Make sure you cover the entire canvas with paint, or you don't have to. All right, so get close to the leaf. And then what we're going to do when we get around the apple and the books, we're going to use a little bit more water. So those sections will be a little bit lighter. So it won't exactly be an outline of a highlight, but it will be lighter than everything else. Okay, so now that we have the brown till about mid-level, and even where this apple is, it's a little bit off, and that's fine. So just keep going until the paint's dry. So now what I'm doing is I'm going in with the water, and I'm going to fill in all of those areas that are left empty with the water, so it'll be like a lighter brown. So let's start in here, and we'll just outline that leaf with the water. See, you're getting some color, it's just lighter, and that adds to the the shaded effect that we have here. Give it a different tone. Back into the water, same thing on this side. Just adding a little bit of water and it's giving it a little bit of a different shade of brown. Go over it a little bit more if you want. Right. I think I'll need a little bit more brown, a little bit more water, just so we can go down till about where the lowest point we went to is here. So that's kind of like where we want to get to with that water brown color. There we go. So added a little bit more brown, so it's darker on that side. That's fine. So this is just if you're following this. Like I said, I want you to kind of experiment and kind of come up with your own cool backgrounds. This is just something that I'm freestyling, so we don't even know how it's going to turn out. That's kind of the fun of it. So we're going to go to about right here. Just the water. Fill in those empty spaces there with just the water and the paint. There we go. That looks about there. And then we're going to wash the brush off. And we're going to go right into the yellow. And this time we're going to come from the bottom. Similar technique. We're just going to come all the way up, go around the books, obviously. You don't paint into the books. And then just kind of blend it together right where they meet. You'll see they kind of blend together. Don't be afraid to go over one. Don't be afraid to bring the yellow all the way up. That's the way to show that it's blending into it. The same thing, use some yellow, get around the books, give a little bit more water. So since it's a smaller area down here, all of this is going to be yellow. Just regular yellow. That'll be the brightest point down here. Don't worry about going over the books. We're going to outline everything in black. Straight yellow all the way to the edge here. Now we're going to come up with the yellow a little bit. Get here where the book pages kind of end. And then just blend it all the way up. And if the paint starts to dry out, don't get more paint, get water. And then we'll use water to fill in these areas here. Don't be afraid to go over the brown, like I said. Kind of mix it in. You see, you have like a little bit of a blending effect going on here. The object is not to be able to tell where the brown stops and where the yellow begins. Kind of just want to blend it all together. A little bit more water over here. Fill in those empty canvas spaces, a little bit under the apple there, around. I actually made a mistake here. I don't know if you can see it on your end, but I dropped a little bit of yellow paint up there, a little bit of a splatter. I'm going to leave it because it looks cool. Even got some on the apple here. Blended in. So we're getting close to covering the entire canvas here. All right, there we go. So go over everything. Make sure everything is blended in very nicely. All right. So that's pretty much it as far as the paint coverage is concerned. Now we're going to take the round brush and we're just going to be using black. And I'm just going to start from the top and go to all the way down. We're going to go ahead and highlight that leaf. Now I like a nice bold highlight, outline. Comes from my love of tattoos. Everything's outlined when you come to tattoo work. So you can kind of make a leaf pattern. You don't have to. Just a little stylistic thing that I'm doing. You don't have to do exactly what I'm doing. And then you could outline the apple. You know, if you don't want it to be as dark, you can kind of just don't go back into the paint. You can just kind of use what you have on the brush, and whatever's there is there. That kind of gives it its own little character to where the outline is dark on one side, light on the other. That could be a little bit of a stylistic thing for you as well. I'm looking at the apple. I feel like it needs a little bit of something else. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go to that flat brush, go into the black paint, water it down a little bit, And we're going to give the apple some shading. So it's going to start at the middle here with a flat brush, a little bit of black water paint, load it on there, and just go around the outside, the inside of that shape. See? We're just kind of giving that apple a little bit of shape there, so it's not just flat. There we go. Go back to the outline brush in the black. I'm just going to go over the book again. Black paint. If you're worried about your hand not being steady, what you can do is you can wait for this to dry a little bit, and you can just go ahead and use like a Sharpie or a magic marker. Just outline the book. The lines are already there for you. Just outline the book. You can bring the pages all the way out if you want, like I was trying to tell you in the beginning. Don't worry about those lines. There you go. See? Remember this was the white one? Now we're just outlining that book. I'm gonna bring it all the way up. Might want this to be a little bit darker. There you go. Yellow one, a little bit square, so we'll keep that shape there. Obviously, all books aren't the same size and shape. You might be going over the same line since the books are stacked right on top of each other. Definitely want to make sure you separate them. All right. All right, so now we're going to use the same brush to go ahead and use you can leave them blank, or if you want to have any phrases that you want to use here. This particular one, I think we're going to go with lead with love. So depends on how good or bad your handwriting is. I try to keep the lettering pretty simple. I use capital letters and then lowercase. Lead with love. Again, you can use whatever kind of lettering or font that you want. I'm trying to keep it very basic. And I think we're going to do your school. Going to do this in caps. You can actually do it in another color if you like as well. There you go. At this point, you can go ahead and wash off your brush. You have an apple here, so if you want to make it a little bit, fancy, you could put like a highlight here on the apple. You could highlight the letters if you like. I think I like them like this. You can add a little bit of white on the letters if you want. You can sign it. That should conclude that painting. You could add, any type of background you want. This one I'm going to leave kind of plain, but you can definitely do your own style if you like. And that will conclude that. Thank you for painting with Coleman Events.